There we go.
Jumped up on that tractor, he locked the brakes up. My puller just stopped right there. They left the damn tractor on the sled. So I don't know, I pulled 90 foot or so until he jumped up on the tractor because I was still towing the tractor and no one was on the tractor.
Oh shit. That's good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking other traction for weight and stuff.
We get lost.
That's not fair.
You know what? Everybody's pulled on that. Everybody.
I got a brand
How's
new,
that
bro.
not fair?
Everybody.
Richards, and your electric scale.
That's why I had some new ones made, because these old junkers, they've been up there for years. That's why I quit using them. This is Tractor Pulling with GZ. He come by today so we could kill some time while it's raining. So we thought we'd take a look around and see what we got going on in here. We got a single cylinder Kohler command here that we've been playing with. Trying out this new rev limiter setup with the electronic ignition. Just something new, something to limit them down so they don't fly apart. Sometimes you run a 5,000 RPM class, sometimes a 4,000, 4,500, anywhere in there. This particular engine is actually pretty well stock. We've adapted it. It was actually a vertical that we've changed over to a horizontal. A little bit of difference in the fuel or the oil pump pickup and the closure plate and the mounting base below it, but that's the reason for the carburetor adapter and this prototype header just for tuning purposes. But nothing fancy, just something to play with. These aren't a real popular engine, so everybody runs the cast iron K-series Kohler. But we're going to see if we can get her going and put her on the dyno, but that's going to be a project for another day. We're waiting on a few parts right now, so maybe the next video we might be able to show you something on it. This second display is the actual foot-pounds of torque gauge, and as you apply the water to the engine brake, to the water brake, it will apply the pressure onto the crankshaft and give you this reading through the computer software that's connected with the load sensor that is on the dyno itself, and we'll show you that. Alright, this is the actual sensor that provides the RPMs to the dyno software. This is your tach reading. So as you start the engine, crankshaft revolutions apply directly to this. It's just a magnetic pickup is all it is. Right here is the load cell. This gives you a resistance of the water brake. When you put the water into this brake, it develops resistance similar to a torque converter on a car, and it will try to slow the engine down, thereby creating pressure trying to lift this against the load cell, and it sends the signal back into the software on the computer and gives us the reading for the foot-pounds of torque. We found this twin here. We're going to put this one on the dyno and we're going to fire it up, run it a little bit, and we'll show you how it actually reads the horsepower and torque, and a couple little neat things that you really can't usually see on the track. So we'll have this thing going here in just a second. We've got a good way here to adjust your fuel pressure. That way, if you need to change it before you actually mount the engine on the tractor, you'll kind of have a better idea where you need your fuel pressure set, rather than making multiple passes on the track with failures. Good time to check the timing also. Whether you use a test light to set electronic ignition, or if you use a timing light using points, however you do it, it's just a lot easier standing here. instead of bent over looking at it while it's mounted in the tractor. But not that it can't be done, but just a little more convenient. So we'll get this one started up and we'll take a look at a few things. This graph that is displayed on the screen is what you will see after you make the pull on the engine with the dyno. Once you're stopped, you're done reading the gauges, it saves the run and you go back and look at it, and then you can tell your highs and lows, kind of help you figure out where the torque range is exactly, and major benefit to help with gearing on the tractor and with tire size. That way you can make the engine work where it's built to run, not below or above the peak torque or horsepower.
Did they build your motor?
No.
Have you had your motor tested here?
Well, I sold mine, but they have had it on the dyno.
You can see on the chart over on the left your engine RPMs, and then it'll give you the specific torque and horsepower for that engine RPM. So we go down here, it'll actually note the peaks on this software. A lot of software is different, but this one in particular, it'll show that we had peak torque at 4,750 and peak horsepower at 6,750. And when you look at the graph, you can see the red line, your higher number is your horsepower usually, but you can see the green line on the screen here where you're looking at the torque, and you can see that it falls in good from around 6,500 all the way down to almost 4,000. That way you can try to gear accordingly so that you can utilize that torque on the track. Because if you're running too high a gear and your engine's bogging too much, you're down here below this 4,000, you know, it's never going to rev up, you're never going to get what you've got to the ground. Up here ahead of it, you're not making any power up here, you're just free revving. So if you could try to gear accordingly and get full use of what you've got on that torque and that horsepower, it'll sure get you a lot further. Sometimes 4,000, 4,500, anywhere in there. This particular engine is actually pretty well stocked. We've adapted it. It was actually a vertical that we've changed over to a horizontal. Yep, thank you. So, whenever it was. Make sure if you do assemble anything yourself, buy yourself a good torque wrench. Yeah, that thing, I don't know why it's not making